Okay, looks like we are live.
For many, this heat, dust, and isolation remain the perception of agriculture. However, in the 21st century, agriculture is an exciting, high-tech sector that feeds the world.
Hi there,
Hello,
good
Louise.
morning. How are you doing this morning, dear Walt?
Morning, Louise. I'm good. Okay, so this is going to be our very first one that we are doing. Yeah, and okay, we're going to be trying a whole bunch of different things, and we would really like to try and see if we can do this as many times as possible. Maybe once a week. Not once a week, once a day, every morning.
For sure, I'm excited about this because there's always something to talk about. We've had a
Yeah.
restful weekend after a very frantic Nampo.
Not just Nampo, not just Nampo. You were traveling.
Yes, I was traveling. I had the opportunity to visit my daughter who now lives in Nova Scotia on the east coast of Canada. And it was really quite special to get away and just take a break and go and spend some family time. It's funny, I must say, lovely as it was to be with her, and I really loved it. I kind of missed the excitement of getting on with the fun things that we do. So it's nice to be back, and I hit the ground on Tuesday afternoon, and Wednesday and Thursday were Nampo. So it was actually really exciting to get back into the swing of things quite fast.
Yeah, no, it is. It was good to have you come with to Nampo. So yeah, I think there's a whole lot of stuff that we always talk about, things that we see in the news feeds. That's why we're going to call it the news. And I think we just need to clarify, people. This is both of our unbiased opinions of what we think we see in these things. And often things get missed, and it's often just nice to just have a chat about it.
Yes, indeed. So the thing is, right now, what we filled most of last week was visiting Nampo. Nampo is a national agricultural show, which is run by the South African Maize Specialty Organization, and yeah.
No, it's been run by Grain SA, but the name
Grain
Nampo,
SA?
Nampo comes from. We looked it up yesterday. Nampo, where is that name?
That's what I was just looking for.
Yeah, it's a national. It used to be back in the 1980s when it started. It used to be the National Maize Producers Organization, and that was the abbreviation for them.
So in the South African agricultural sector, when people say, have you been to Nampo or are you going to Nampo? It's a big deal because the biggest one they have is normally, it's an annual event, and they have two. The big one is at Bothaville in the Orange Free State province, kind of in the center of the country. And that is during our winter months. Can you remember exactly when that is, dear? I think
it's normally May.
May, okay. And then later in the year, like right now in September, we have the Nampo Kaap, which is at Bredasdorp, which is quite a isolated area. Well, from Cape Town, it's quite a long drive, and for us, it's a two to 2.5 hour drive just to get there. But we did. We jumped in the car and we went to Nampo, and we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, look, it always used to just be the big Nampo up country, and then they decided to add Nampo Kaap because a lot of the Cape Town people or the Western Cape people didn't. It was a bit far for them to travel, and with the Western Cape being a huge agricultural hub, they just decided to add one down here as well. And I think 2018 was the first one, then 2019, and then obviously the dreaded COVID hit us. So the first one I had again was 2022 last year. So that was actually the third one, if I'm correct. And then this year is the fourth Nampo Kaap, which is, and
Okay.
I think,
I didn't realize that the Nampo Kaap was as recent as that. So then it's really grown fast. And I mean, when you think of it, you think of, it's run by Grain SA, but there's so much more than grain there. I mean, we arrived and we saw chickens, goats, the most beautiful examples of sheep, and the most beautiful big cattle, and well, there were even every type of stall there, anything to do with agriculture, and then also a whole lot of add-ons. So it's really a fun day outing for anybody, whether you're actually serious agriculturalist or just family visiting. It was lots of fun. We really enjoyed it.
yes, it was. Okay, so what would you say was the coolest thing, or the thing that stood out the most to you from Nampo?
Well, you know what? Actually, interestingly, now that you mentioned that this is only the fourth or the fifth Nampo Kaap that happened, I'm actually blown away at the size of the exhibition. If it is so recent, I mean, it's massive. You can't see everything in a day. What amazed me was some of the, particularly outside stalls, with those massive machinery for wheat and grain harvesting. That they brought all those huge machines, parked them there, set them up. It must take some doing. Equally, the variety of agricultural products that are on display there just blows the mind, actually.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of the same thing. So you can also, for those who are exhibiting, you can very quickly gauge who your competition is, because they are all there.
Yes, indeed. And very often, I think it's also a place where people meet and greet, So if you kind of know your competition is, you see them, and it's your choice to whether you want to speak to them and say how things going, or they can cooperate, or definitely we're not going to speak to that lot. So it's a very interesting place where everybody, a very large proportion of the agricultural sector is all in one space, and people have the opportunity to look, make contacts, and obviously the point of the whole exhibition is to show the public what you have and what you're doing, and to make contacts. And that's why we went there, is actually to go and connect up with some of our existing clients, and to potentially connect with some new clients and see if we can create some new business. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, look, it was 2 long days. I think I had a look on my step counter. I think we done close to, in total, about 20 kilometers on that terrain.
Is that why I was so exhausted? Now I understand.
No, not
but it was fun.
Also the flight. you had a 16-hour flight just before.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do, and it was fun. And it was incredible how well we were received at stands, and some of the people we walked in and we just did on the fly interviews with them to say, who are you and what do you do and what is your product? And we were very well received by the people that we did that with. Some of them were a little bit overwhelmed when you arrived, and then, our South African agricultural sector, most of the people are Afrikaans speaking. So then it would everybody would draw lots to see who can speak the best English, and that poor person would be pushed in front of the camera. So that was fun as well, and we got them going, and so yes, it was fun, and I would certainly do it again.
Yeah, and also the industrial language that came through in the little pieces that we had to cut out was quite cool.
Yes. Very, very, very pointed, expressive language, which sometimes is not for the air. But nonetheless, I think the value of something like Nampo Kaap, or Nampo, and also now our local Nampo Kaap, is you can't put a value to that. Getting everybody together and allowing people to see things. I mean, we saw children looking at the animals, and we saw people doing all kinds of things. And it's really a great get-together opportunity. There's also a lot of retail therapy there. So if you're not even particularly connected to agriculture, there's most beautiful clothing and leatherware and all kinds of things available there. So obviously, first and foremost, it is for the agricultural sector. But the general public, I think there's a lot to be seen there as well and enjoyed.
Yes, and look, if you're looking for something specific, it doesn't matter. Look, a lot of the stuff we do is in fresh produce, so there wasn't a lot to do with fresh produce there. But the things that were there, the people obviously got to see them. But if you were looking in a specific type of machinery or implement, you would definitely go there, and you will find the best deal possible on that thing, and you'll be able to kick the tires and feel the paint and have a good chat to everybody.
And that was a lot of fun to go and look at these massive machines. You know, I'm not very familiar with the whole wheat and maize industry, and to see those massive machines, and some of them are made locally and some of them are imported, but to go and have a look at these things and see the size of them. And as Dewald says, there's a lot of tire kicking. People come along and they look at this. And there's a lot of look at this amazing thing. But it's pretty cool. And amongst all of these things, there was even a massive transformer, like from the movie Transformer.
Yeah.
Big constructed one like that, and it was speaking with this deep American accent. And there were a lot of kids standing there and being completely bowled over. And obviously, it was the target of a lot of photographs and so on. So lots of fun.
Certainly it was, and it was good to see the amount of people the diverse amount of people that was there. There was youngsters and school kids, and there were people from all walks of life. Not just your typical farmer or boer, as you may call it, but a lot of different people.
Yes, indeed. And you know what? I think we've passed COVID, thank goodness. Although COVID is still lurking around there, the pandemic is over. But I think it's left a mark on all of us in that isolation period has made people enjoy going out so much more. And I wonder if that isn't part of the reason why Nampo has been so successful last year, and particularly again this year. I know that weather closed down the last 2 days of Nampo this year, but the time that we spent there was fantastic.
Yeah, when I spoke to Frans from Tonka Chippers on Friday morning, he said to me, yeah, the people had to hold on to the Jojo tanks and the tents, and it was gale force winds, and it was pretty hectic. But he said there was those little times in between where the wind dropped a little bit, and then the people were out everywhere again. So yes, the weather wasn't fantastic the last 2 days, but I don't think that dampened the spirits of people going. So I think it was still worth it to be there.
I agree, and I think that the Western Cape in spring, you must know, we can expect 4 seasons in one day, and the fact that people still went and they still enjoyed it, that's really great. So yes. That is what my impression is of Nampo. Is there anything else, Dewald, that you wanted to wrap up with?
If you looked at Nampo, which brand would you say was the most well represented, and not necessarily an exhibitor there? What brand was the most well exhibited everywhere we went?
Oh, that's a big question. Well, if it doesn't jump to mind,
it's being represented right now.
I'm a bit slow. It's Monday morning.
K-Way.
We were there. We represented ourselves.
We were there, but we had a good laugh about it while we were sitting there. The brand K-Way.
Oh, of course, yes. Well, even before we got to Nampo, I was very early for my boarding flight in Washington, from Washington to Cape Town, and I was wondering if I was at the right gate. And as time went by, I realized I'm definitely at the right gate when the people wearing K-Way jackets and veldskoene started arriving. So K-Way is probably, short of the South African flag, it's probably the most recognized brand out there internationally, and definitely at Nampo. Every second or third person was wearing, yes, to South Africans, was wearing a K-Way. And as you can see, Dewald is also wearing K-Way.
Yeah. Well, it's good quality stuff. So, but it was just a funny comment that we spoke about, that it doesn't matter where you turn, where you look, there's a K-Way something. And I think just with the value of the clothing in K-Way that was there, you can probably start a pretty small, a decent small business.
Yeah, yeah. But it was great fun. And what was also nice to see is that a lot of, like, for instance, the local school was selling the food, one of the food stalls. So it brings in quite a lot of revenue for a small place like Bredasdorp to be hosting it. And I mean, the amount of traffic coming in there and the parking and the trickle-down effect with the money coming into the town, I'm sure it must also be helpful for Bredasdorp.
Oh, for sure. The accommodations were all fully booked. The food shops must have been doing very well. It's just, it's very good for that town.
Yes, indeed, especially in times that are tough. I think they're probably very pleased to have this there. And honestly, I would say I would highly recommend anybody, not just in the agricultural sector, I would recommend that anybody who's interested in a fun day out next year, put Nampo Kaap on your calendar.
No, for sure, for sure. Okay, well, today was just basically going to be Nampo, and we posted a whole bunch of videos that we recorded with everybody. They are all up on our pages and profiles on YouTube, on LinkedIn, not yet on Facebook. But yeah, if you are interested in them, all the people are tagged. Please go have a look, share them. It's appreciated by everybody that took part in that.
Yes, it was great fun, and we did a couple of interviews, and that's also always fun because people think they can't speak and they don't want to speak, and then they speak and they do a great job. So yeah. Doing interviews is also a lot of fun.
And for people that's thinking about going to actually exhibit there, is don't wait around too long to make the decision. You are going to have a ton of feet come past your stand. Make it so that people can see what your stand is about, because there's been a couple that we walk past and you just look and you think, what the hell is this actually about? You just do not get what they are trying to showcase. And you need to, then you have to interact with the people. But if everybody's busy, then how are you going to get somebody to quickly look at your stuff? There's also people that at stands that should have been inside, but they were outside, and vice versa, and they didn't have enough product on display, and you can just see it was dead quiet at them.
Yes. The stands that really stood out for me were ones where there was something interactive happening, where you could see there was some sort of action. There were some stands that were beautifully set up, but when you went there to go and see something, the people were missing at that moment. So they missed out on your interest and on your potential business. So I suppose if you're going to have a stand there, best to be in it and best to have something interesting and have something to show people.
Yeah, make sure it's well manned so that if you do need to run to the loo, that there's at least somebody that can take the reins while you're not there. But I think just in general, apply early, make sure that you get there, and then make sure that people can walk by and know exactly what it is about that you are there. It will just pique the interest more.
Yes, but really, as for a day out with the family, it's fun, and I mean, you really get immersed in the agricultural sector, literally boots and all, and the whole South Africa and the warmth and the interaction and the fun. Honestly, even if we weren't working, I would have loved to have gone. So it's really enjoyable, and I can highly recommend it.
Yes. Well, I think for our very first, if you want to call it news, I think we are pretty much done. I know we've got some interesting things that we're going to be chatting tomorrow about. So
tune in again. We'd love to chat to you.
Yeah, and if anybody thinks that there's stuff that they think we should talk about or whatever, please send it to us, and we'll look at it.
For sure. This is
And
fun.
and we had one comment from our good friend Jonathan Genis. I put it up on screen. It was early up. There it is.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jonathan.
Right. And also, guys, talking about Jonathan, he has got the Riebeek Valley radio show. It's his radio station, and he is playing our podcasts every week on the show for an hour long, or however long the podcast was. He slots it in. So people in the valley, please go and support Jonathan, and we will share the social links so that people can go follow the radio station and support him.
Great stuff. So
Okay.
it was fun. We'd love to hear from you.
Right, here we go. Chat to you later.
Bye.
For many, this heat, dust, and isolation remain the perception of agriculture. However, in the 21st century, agriculture is an exciting, high-tech sector that feeds the world.